Hello, fellow learners. Today I will talk about an interesting economic concept called Baumol's cause disease, which is incorporated by William Baumol in 1969. While the concept may seem dated, it has enormous relevance in today's economic wage decisions with increase in the service sector and the economic growth in of country, especially in India. Baumel's cause disease explains why wages in industries with low productivity growth tend to rise over time despite no corresponding increase in productivity. Some famous examples are education, healthcare sector, and performing arts. Before we dive into this particular topic, a significant concept integral to understanding the Baumel's cause disease is that the labor market is considered at the national level and not at the individual sectoral level. This means that the pricing of wages in separate sectors is affected not only by the sectoral wages but by the national labor market wages. The concept states that the sectors with high productivity growth, that example manufacturing, that see an increase due to high technological advancements, will see increase in wages due to higher output, while the sectors with low productivity growth like healthcare or the service sectors that are labor intensive with little or no scope for technological infusion will also see a rise in the wages to retain talent. A laborer will not only compare wages within their own sector, which might have minimal growth, but will also evaluate them against the national labor market and find opportunities to switch to industries requiring the same effort but better pay. This has significant implication for businesses in the service sector. The service sector contributes nearly 50% of the GDP, and wherein we have the healthcare sector and the education sector contributing close to 11.6%. Firms in this sector have a very low scope of automation, so productivity over the years is more or less the same or growing at a very low pace. While wage increases are typically linked to productivity growth, in these sectors they are driven by broader labor market rates to retain workers. To manage this, businesses may need to raise service prices or identify cost cutting opportunities. A contrary view of Bauman's cause disease states that rising costs in low productivity services will drag down overall productivity growth. However, other schools of thought suggest that this effect is less concerning due to structural changes within service sector. The suitability between high productivity and low productivity services means that gains in progressive sectors can offset the drag from the stagnant ones. So, to give you an example, that suppose the IT sector or the industry sector will have a high productivity growth because there's a lot of scope for automation and technological advancement. So, their productivity rate will be very high. And it's said that it will compensate or offset the low productivity growth that we might see in the other other sectors, as we mentioned earlier, of healthcare sector and the education sectors. So the share of services has remained stable around 25 to 35% of the economy, suggesting that the expansion of stagnant services does not necessarily lead to an overall productivity decline. So, when these sectors of high productivity and low productivity are combined, it is not only offsetting, but see, the high growth, the productivity sectors are also pulling the low productive sectors out of the wage war. Moreover, improving productivity in progressive services or high productivity sectors where developed countries have lagged behind the US could lift aggregate productivity despite slower growth in stagnant services. Structural changes within services such as the growth of business and intermediate services further weaken Baumel's prediction by shifting the economy toward higher productivity activities. So over here, the other contrary school of thought says that the Baumel effect might not actually have such a significant effect on the economy and the wages of the laborers in the economy because there is a substitution effect also taking place where the high productivity sectors are being offset by low productive sectors, and also structural changes within the service sector that take place which help to grow the intermediate service which help businesses to grow and further weaken the Baumel's production. From an economic policy and a business perspective, Burma's cause disease remains a consideration for managing the long-term productivity challenges, especially in the labor-intensive and low-productivity sectors. However, structural shifts within the services sector, such as the growth of high-productivity businesses, as I mentioned before, and intermediate services, suggest that the overall impact may be less severe than the initial expected. For policymakers, this implies that they need to focus more on innovation, efficiency in progressive sectors, as in the policymakers will have to try to see if they can first focus on this low productive sectors and identify areas of technological advancement. If that is not possible, they will have to try to focus on helping the high productivity sectors where their productivity growth is so high that they will compensate for the low productivity sectors and they can offset the stagnation that is brought in by the low productivity sector. Business can leverage this shift by investing in technology and process improvements within high productivity sectors, which could enhance the overall competitiveness and drive sustained through growth of structural limitations. That's all from my side. Thank you.